Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Amy, and I am part of the education team here at ChildNet, part of the UK Safer Internet Centre. We are so pleased to have some time today to tell you a little bit more about the upcoming Safer Internet Day celebrations, including all of the different resources that are available to help you run activities in your school or youth group setting. But before we kind of get started and jump in with everything, I did just want to let you know that you can submit questions via the Q&A today. We've got some staff behind the scenes who'll be monitoring that, and we'll be making sure that we leave some time at the end of today's 30 to 40-minute session to answer all of those. It's so great to have so many of you here today. And in our work with the ChildNet education team, a really big part of our job is travelling to schools all around the country. We talk to children aged 3 to 18 years old, parents, carers, and professionals about online safety. So everyone here at ChildNet, everyone from the education team at ChildNet comes from that education background. I think the really key thing to know is that we know firsthand how valuable your time is and how many plates you've got to keep spinning. So, our aim for the session today is to tell you everything you need to know about the upcoming Safer Internet Day campaign, and most importantly, to signpost you to all of the different resources that are available completely for free to help you with that. So, here in the UK, Safer Internet Day is coordinated by the UK Safer Internet Centre. That is a partnership between three organisations. You've got us over at ChildNet, the Internet Watch Foundation, and the Southwest Grid for Learning. And it's worth checking out each of those organisations individually, as we all offer kind of slightly different resources and a support available for you in your roles. However, today we are also joined on the session by colleagues from the Education Authority and the Safeguarding Board of Northern Ireland, who we've been working with really closely to make sure that Safer Internet Day is a success with you in Northern Ireland. So to kick us off, we would like to welcome Eamon McAteer from the Education Authority to say a few words. Thank you, Eamon.
Thanks, Amy. Delighted to be part of today. It's one of the biggest days of the year for us. And I suppose for C2K and moving into EDIS, the services that we provide for 350,000 pupils, all fantastic, but it has to be underpinned by online safety and by guiding young people how to use the internet. So that is the foundation that the managed service is built on. I want to thank, first of all, I don't think we have enough expertise. We definitely don't have enough expertise. And the fact that we can link in with the people involved in organising this today is absolutely fantastic. And it's essential that we do that. So I want to thank UK Safer Internet Centre, who we have shared a relationship for many years, and it's gone from strength to strength. And the guys come over April, May time for roadshows, and that's fantastic, and we want that to continue. I want to mention the key role that Children and Young People Services have around safeguarding and online safety and reporting in Northern Ireland. And the Education Authority, we have many different roles and functions, and without the Children and Young People Services and the team there, this today wouldn't be nowhere near the success that it is. So thank you to colleagues in EA for that. The comms that went out through Children and Young People Services has been fantastic for this webinar, and that's why it's been so successful. I think everybody wants to be involved and informed, but if you don't know what's happening, then we can't get the numbers that we have today. It's essential in the work that we do that we link closer, and we are doing through the work that Esther is doing in C2K and Orla and the rest of the team in the Safeguarding Board for Northern Ireland, who are sponsoring the webinar today. And I just want to mark the very, very timely intervention of sponsoring and paying for resources in Irish medium, that those resources are translated, and that's a fantastic kind of movement forward. And our Irish medium schools obviously are availing of that. And I want to thank our EDIS comms team as well. Esther, my colleague, has put a lot of work on this. Esther, thanks for leading us so far. And I'm now going to just hand over back to Amy and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And thank you.
Thank you, Eamon. It's great to have the support of yourselves and the Safeguarding Board for Northern Ireland. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to get the reach that we have in Northern Ireland today without you. So we really, really appreciate it. And it is truly great to see so many of you joining this call. We just hope that we can translate that into some activity around the day. So, Safer Internet Day is a global campaign. It's celebrated in over 100 different countries every year, and it normally falls on a Tuesday in early February. So, this year, Safer Internet Day will be celebrated on Tuesday, the 11th of February, 2025. Now, we are aware that that date falls in the half term holidays for many schools, as the date is kind of set internationally. This is something that we know other countries do struggle with as well. So what we've been doing at the UK Safer Internet Centre is working with partners from both the Education Authority and the Safeguarding Board for Northern Ireland to try and overcome that obstacle. And the recommendation that we want to make is that schools who wish to participate in the day run activities the week before. And we will shortly then be launching a letter which schools can send home to help families continue that conversation and get involved during the half term break at home. And of course, we know it's not just schools who we have here today. So if you're joining from a youth organisation, a library, anywhere that works directly with young people and is kind of likely to have contact during the school holidays, we would really encourage you to focus your activities on Safer Internet Day itself where possible. Because Safer Internet Day is ultimately about inspiring a national conversation. It is about using technology responsibly, respectfully, critically, and creatively. We want to empower children and young people to speak up about their digital lives, and we want to empower adults to engage and listen to kind of really develop that deeper understanding of young people's experiences. So, whether you are participating kind of before, after, or on the day itself, what is most important is that you're getting involved and you're helping engage young people with those key safety messages. So last year, the Safer Internet Day campaign reached over half of children and young people in the country and a third of UK parents and carers. And really what we want to emphasise is this is only possible thanks to all of the incredible support that we get from schools, youth groups, libraries, police forces, charities, governments, and the internet industry. And what I really want to help answer for you today is why you and the young people you work with should participate in Safer Internet Day 2025. So every year after the campaign, we run a survey to kind of gauge the impact that that campaign has had. And last year, 77% of the young people we spoke to said they felt more confident about what to do if something was worrying them online as a result of the day. And then 31% told us they had spoken to a parent or carer about something that had been worrying them online after hearing about the day. We've also spoken to parents and carers themselves about their experiences of the day. 72% of them told us they had talked to their child about using the internet safely. And perhaps most notably, 53% of the educators that we spoke to after the day said the conversation started by the campaign led to disclosures about potential safeguarding or child protection issues online. So if we take a step back, that is a lot of young people getting support and advice who otherwise might have been facing that problem on their own. So I know that lots of you are already doing amazing work in this space, whether you're delivering messages during ICT, assemblies, RSE, whether you have a really comprehensive kind of whole organization approach. We feel really confident that Safer Internet Day has a role to play. And we want to emphasize that it's not about delivering all of your online safety messages in one day, but we do see it as a really great opportunity to engage young people with this topic, to keep it at the forefront of everyone's minds. It's that chance to kind of celebrate technology and all of the different opportunities that it can offer, but also start those important conversations about young people's online experiences that we really want to continue all year long. And apart from all of that, it is also really good fun. And participating means joining in with thousands of other organisations all across the country. So whatever your role, we have resources to help you get involved with the day, whether you have 5 minutes, an hour, or you want to dedicate a whole week to the celebrations. Every year in the UK, we choose a different theme for Safer Internet Day, and previous years have included topics like reliability online, consent, online identity. Last year, we kind of focused in on change and we looked at things like generative AI. And this year, after consulting children and young people and really hearing about what they are seeing and experiencing, we have made the decision that Safer Internet Day 2025 will be focusing on scams online. So our full strapline is too good to be true, protecting yourself and others from scams online. We hear from young people all the time about the scams they've spotted. So what we want to do with the campaign is assess the real scale of this issue and allow young people to share their experiences and ideas on how to tackle the problem. We're going to try and build on the really important work that's already being done to raise awareness of issues such as online financial sextortion. And we're also going to be considering the future of scams. So, answering questions such as how is changing technology like generative AI going to impact the approach of scammers? What role can the government and the internet industry take to tackle this threat? And what changes would young people like to see to help protect themselves moving forward? So on the screen, you can see a word cloud that has been generated from some of the terms used in our focus groups while developing the theme for this year. And I would say it's been really clear from the start that young people's experiences of this issue are really varied, but that they are also being exposed to increasingly sophisticated methods. So we've heard stories from children about phishing scams, scams encouraging investment in cryptocurrency, gaming scams, and there were also quite a few mentions of fake tickets to things like Taylor Swift's Eras tour. Young people also told us not only about their concerns for themselves, but also for their parents, carers, and grandparents who they know might be victims of scams as well. So, another thing about this theme is that we really hope it's going to resonate across generations and allow for some of those fantastic conversations at home as well as in school. And we want to share online safety messages, advice, and techniques that young people and those that support them can use to make the most of their time online in a really safe, enjoyable, and supportive way. And we also want to give people the skills that they need to spot scams online, as well as the really important ways that they can report when they have been the victim of a scam. So hopefully that has sold you on the theme. I'm now going to spend a little bit of time exploring the resources available to support you in engaging with the day. So we'll start with the downloadable activity packs, and you can find all of the resources for free on the UK Safer Internet Centre website. The page looks just like the one that you can see on the screen, and you are going to need to click on the tab labelled Education Resources. We've put the URL on the screen, but I believe my colleague Becca is also going to be making sure that links have been posted in the Q&A. As in previous years, we have provided 4 sets of resources. So each one is designed for working with a different age range. We have resources for 3 to 7s, 7 to 11s, 11 to 14s, and 14 to 18s. And each pack includes instructions and resources for 4 adaptable activities, including a quiz, plus an assembly. And all of those resources, as Eamon mentioned, are available in English and also Irish language medium. And that is thanks to the funding that we've received from the Safeguarding Board for Northern Ireland. So a big thank you for that. Okay, I think we might be ready to take a look at the resources. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through pack by pack, but I would really recommend sticking around and listening to the full session because all of the activities are designed to be adaptable. So even those packs that are designed for older or younger children than the learners you work with may still have something that you want to try out. And remember that we'll be wrapping up the session later on with the Q&A. So when you download each pack, you are going to find 4 documents which are numbered and named for ease of use. And I would recommend starting with the PDF, which lists all of the different activities, and it is helpfully labelled number 1. This document, it kind of starts with an overview of the theme, and it's also where you're going to find some really important guidance. So advice about establishing a safe and supportive learning environment and advice about responding to safeguarding concerns or potential disclosures. Now, It's natural your organisation's safeguarding procedures, child protection policies, they need to be your first port of call here, but there is definitely further advice and support available in the pack should you need it. Further through this document, you're going to reach the activity overviews. At the top of each activity, you will find an approximate running length and learning objectives, along with a list of everything you're going to need to deliver it. And that includes a reference to any supporting slides, which, if needed, are going to be available in the PowerPoint, which is document number 2 in your download. We've also worked very hard to ensure the activities are adaptable. And whilst in previous years we have provided activities specifically for learners with special educational needs, this year we have taken a slightly different approach. So for every single activity across all 4 packs, we have made specific suggestions on how that activity could be adapted to suit learners with additional needs. Okay, let's start with the 3 to 7s. As you can expect, the key messages at this age are straightforward. They focus on simple concepts that we would anticipate children at this age are kind of already familiar with. So trusted adult, seeking help, personal information. And we do have some activities that show examples of scams, but there is no expectation on you to kind of explicitly use that language. And actually, we'd really encourage you to meet learners where they are. So if you only have 15 minutes, I would recommend the activity you can see on the screen, which is the big picture activity. And it features 3 characters, Pip, Dom, and Zach. The idea of this activity is that you print or display the pictures that you can see here, and then you ask young people to describe what they think is happening. So as well as being an opportunity to develop language and storytelling skills, it's also a really good initial assessment tool to kind of really gauge what learners already know about this issue and their level of recognition as to what is going on. The next activity for 3 to 7s is one that would work really well with a class or a larger group of young people. And it features a short story written about Samira, who loves playing her favourite game on her tablet. So Samira has been saving up to buy a special item in her game, but she has to dodge a few scams and other potential issues before she can get there. And the kind of main point about this story is that it provides lots of opportunities for discussion, but the aim is to reflect on how using technology can impact our emotions. So we provide a set of 6 emotion cards, which if you've participated in Safer Internet Day before, you might recognise. We have used them in previous years as well. And whilst you're reading the story aloud, at set points in the narrative, you can kind of pause and ask all of the young people you're with which of the 6 emotions they think Samira might be feeling and have a little bit of discussion around that. Okay, the next activity in the 3 to 7 pack is definitely one of the easiest to make your own. So for starters, it's actually 2 activities in one. We have a sorting game and a matching game. And the objective of this activity is about identifying examples of personal information. So for learners who maybe are already familiar with what personal information is, we would suggest the sorting activity, where they sort cards between what is and is not safe to share. Then the matching activity, slightly simpler. It uses cards that only show personal information so that children can really familiarise themselves with those particular examples. And the final activity for the 3 to 7 age range is a quiz. It is on a theme we know lots of settings already cover with their learners. It comes with a short accompanying slide deck and it focuses on trusted adults. So who children should be talking to if they have a problem or a worry when they're using technology. One thing we've been really careful to include here is messaging about always talking to someone who is a grown-up. When we're in schools, lots of children tell us they'd go to a sibling or a friend instead, so we wanted to really emphasise that for them. Now, every pack includes a quiz, and we have provided them in 2 formats. So firstly, you can find them as a clickable, interactive quiz on the UK Safer Internet Centre website. So what you could do is pop it up on a screen with the group that you're working with, kind of go through it together, and you're going to be given feedback after each answer and a score at the end. Alternatively, we've also provided all of the questions and answers for the quizzes in a Word document format, which is document number 3 in your download. And this is because we have had feedback from educators previously that they would have liked to have been able to adapt the quizzes to the software and platforms that they're already using, so things like Kahoot. So hopefully this makes this as easy as possible for you to do. Okay, let's move on to the 7 to 11s now. And if you only have 15 minutes with this age range, we actually think the quiz is a really great activity to run. Unlike the 3 to 7 quiz, this one is broader in focus. It covers a whole range of different types of scams, as well as key advice like spotting scams, reporting, and getting help. And again, this is available as an interactive version online and then the kind of plain text version in a Word document so you can adapt it. In our focus groups with 7 to 11-year-olds, the children were definitely familiar with the term scam and they were using it very confidently to describe a whole range of things that they were seeing online. So, what we've tried to do with these resources is build on that existing knowledge. We've used this acronym. It uses the word scam to kind of help learners recall how they can spot signs that something online might be trying to trick them. So, seeming too good to be true, contacting them when they didn't expect it, like a random message or a pop up, asking for personal information, money, or even a trade. And this activity is about applying those 4 signs of a scam to different scenarios. So it's provided as a slide deck, which includes an introduction and a definition at the start, and then a set of examples to work through. And for each one, the idea is to ask learners to kind of indicate which signs of a scam they think apply. And they could do that by writing the letters on a mini whiteboard, or maybe you have different groups of children representing different signs, and you ask them to raise their hands if they think their sign applies. One of our most adaptable activities for this age range is the Protect Your Profile activity, which we can see up close here. This is provided as a PowerPoint slide, but you could also print it off for learners to use as a worksheet. And the picture that you can see is essentially a risk spotting activity, providing lots of examples for further discussion. So you could do this as a group or an independent task, and you could challenge learners to see how many problems they can find, or you could focus in on a particular one. And our final activity for this age range is one of my favorites. It features the trustworthy trout, who you can see on screen. And as you might have guessed, this activity focuses on a particular form of scams, which is phishing. So it has lots of visual examples for the children to study and then feed to the trustworthy trout. But be careful because scams are going to make him sick. So we've tried really hard to provide a range of different examples here, and you could definitely repurpose all of these as a quick starter for an ICT lesson throughout the year. Challenge pupils to spot the signs it's a scam, and then that also enables you to revisit those key messages and help embed and refresh their learning. And that leads us on to the 11 to 14 pack. And again, if you're short on time with this age range, I do think that the quiz is a really good place to start. The messaging is again stepped up a level. And in this quiz, we start signposting to organisations such as Action Fraud, who are part of the police and who you can report scams and fraud to. Next up, we have the signs of a scam activity. And like the equivalent activity that we were just looking at in the 7 to 11 pack, this one has a range of different examples and challenges learners to kind of explore the different clues that something might not be trustworthy. Again, it's provided as a slide deck, so you could work through these on screen with a group or even pop one up at the beginning of the day whilst you're taking register, something like that for the young people to discuss. And all of the examples that we give here are inspired by what we heard directly from young people in our focus groups, and they replicate real techniques used by scammers online. So this pack also introduces examples relating to investment and cryptocurrency, online shopping scams, and scams that might start out as catfishing. And if any of those terms sound unfamiliar or you are just less computer confident, remember that we also provide accompanying teacher guidance or guidance for anyone who wants to run the activities that explains the key terms and gives you any answers for the activities that you're not so sure on. Our next activity for this age range focuses on how young people can protect themselves from scams before, during, or after being targeted. And we have provided 3 longer examples for this activity, so learners can explore what each character might do next. We've also provided supporting action cards to help prompt responses, which you could give to learners straight away or only if they need a hint. And the action cards come as a full, really detailed set or a simpler, streamlined set so that you can use whichever one is going to best suit the needs of your learners. And finally, on the screen, you can see the resources for 11 to 14s also introduce the issue of online financial sexual extortion, often referred to simply as sextortion. Now, you might be aware that this is a growing trend. It's been recognised by various organisations, including the UK Safer Internet Centre, but also the National Crime Agency, and I know letters have gone out to Northern Irish schools in the last month or so. Sextortion is a crime, and when targeting children, a form of child sexual exploitation. However, at the outset, it does also kind of take the form of a scam, and it is financially motivated. So, most importantly for us, it was recognised by the young people in our focus groups, and we did feel that Safer Internet Day was an opportunity to provide all of you with some resources and activities to help raise awareness of this issue with learners. We do know that sextortion is a sensitive topic, so we've also provided very clear guidance and a slide deck so that you have a nice, simple structure and wording on this issue to really help you feel confident in addressing it. And that brings us on to the final of our 4 packs, but do remember to stick around for the Q&A, and we also have a few final bits to share after that. So for the oldest age range, the 14 to 18s, we are suggesting the quiz as a quick activity again. This quiz has fewer questions than the other ones, but they are a lot more challenging and they kind of cover a lot of nuances, really focusing on different possible responses to scams. For this age range, we kind of really wanted to think about the additional risk that comes with that transition to adulthood, and a time when I guess young people might have more financial independence, maybe a regular income, maybe bank accounts of their own. So for this reason, the resources for this age have some more detailed case studies on a few specific type of scams. So money muling, where we know criminals often target young adults and university students, that appears in the quiz, alongside a pyramid scheme example and an investment scam as well. And then for our next activity, we have some further kind of detailed examples, which you can see on the screen are provided as a short narrative with accompanying questions. Now, we've run this activity ourselves by splitting a class into smaller groups and then asking each of them to focus on one of the case studies. They used the questions that we provide as a prompt, undertook some further research on the type of scam that they were looking at, and the activity includes a romance scam, money muling, an impersonation scam, and an investment scam. And then once they'd gathered their findings, they shared those with the wider group. What we loved was that one group even chose to incorporate drama into their presentation, and we feel this activity could potentially be adapted as a whole in a similar way. Next up, we have an activity on victim blaming. So victim blaming is the suggestion that a victim of a crime or abuse is somehow at fault or to blame for their experiences. Now, unfortunately, in our work in schools, we do often hear victim blaming attitudes from young people, often in relation to things like sexual harassment. So we were really interested as a team to also learn more about the role victim blaming can play in relation to scams. So, as you can imagine, it's very easy to slip into language that kind of inadvertently suggests victims of a scam are to blame. Even that phrase, fallen for a scam, it puts the responsibility on the victim, not on the criminal perpetrator. So this activity, it really aims to unpick what victim blaming is and the impact it can have, and it explores different examples like those we can see on screen and asks learners to reflect on whether they are a helpful or harmful thing to say to a victim of a scam. And then the final activity we have to cover is the sextortion activity, which is found in the 14 to 18 pack. I won't spend long on this one. It's very similar to the activity which is in the 11 to 14 pack, as well as breaking down kind of what sextortion is and how to respond if they experience it. The 11 to 14 activity gets learners to design an advice page on this issue. And then the 14 to 18 activity encourages learners to imagine and design a support service that could help young people who have experienced sextortion. And a reminder as well, we have 2 assemblies that are provided in the packs, one for 3 to 11s, which can be found in the 2 younger age packs, and one for 11 to 18s, which can be found in the 2 older packs. The assembly will be document number 4 in your initial download, which is the final of the 4 documents that you will get. Each assembly introduces Safer Internet Day, and then it focuses on this year's theme of scams. And the key messages to take away are around reporting and getting help. And as in previous years, they also include editable slides for you to add the name of your designated safeguarding lead or teacher, or other reporting routes specific to your setting or organisation if you're not a school. We also have top tips available on the UK Safer Internet Centre website. They are available for 7 to 11s, 11 to 14s, and 14 to 18s. And then we have separate top tips for parents and carers, and further top tips specific to parents and carers of 3 to 7-year-olds. So there is something for everyone, and those top tips are definitely a great option if you want to send something home for that week of Safer Internet Day during the holidays, for families to have a look at and to start those conversations. And you could do that alongside the letter that we're producing that will be coming very soon to help start those conversations at home. And that really concludes our tour of the resource packs. I hope that that has been useful, and do download the resources yourself so you can explore what we've put together and adapt something for whatever setting or organisation you're working within. As a reminder, they are available completely for free in English and in Irish on the UK Safer Internet Centre website. And we are really looking for you to adapt them to whatever your needs, whether you're a teacher or work with young people in another capacity. I did also want to mention some fantastic resources which you can see on the screen. These have been pulled together by the BBC, and if you head to the BBC Teach website, you can find all of these on their educational calendar under Safer Internet Day. In particular, the BBC have created 2 short videos on scams and phishing, which have been specifically designed to work alongside the UK Safer Internet Centre resources. They are for primary schools, and they are also available with British Sign Language translation. And for secondary schools, they have put together some fantastic secondary assembly resources. For anyone who has participated in Safer Internet Day previously, unfortunately, we've not been able to create any video resources ourselves at the UK Safer Internet Centre to accompany the campaign this year. So we are really grateful to the BBC who've kind of created these fantastic resources that will certainly help fill that gap. And on that note, we do have a very special and important request for any of you joining this webinar today. The UK Safer Internet Centre is a partnership of 3 charities, and we rely on support and funding to be able to run this campaign and provide all of the materials we've talked through today. And as we've mentioned, we're really grateful to the Safeguarding Board for Northern Ireland for the support that they've been able to provide us. But there's something you can do too. So by registering as a supporter of the day, you can help us evidence the reach the campaign has, which is really, really important to help secure that funding. And it's going to mean that we can continue to produce all of these free resources for you in the future. So I believe there should be a link in the chat, or you can find the link, the URL you can see on the screen. Please, please, please register your organisation as a supporter. It's a really simple process. You need to supply a few details and also a copy of your logo, but it then means that you get to appear on our beautiful kind of interactive map. And you can see from last year that Northern Ireland was kind of just a solid block of dots of people who had signed up. We would love to see that kind of response again this year. And we have changed the form from previous years. So you're no longer required to tell us what your plans are. So if you've not made a final decision yet, you can still register, you can still appear on the map, showing supporters kind of all across the country. And you can decide a little bit further down the line exactly what it is you're going to do to get involved. We have also just today launched our social media toolkit, which is on the UK Safer Internet Centre website, and that includes lots of suggested wording and graphics. And we're going to be resharing and engaging with as many people as possible using the hashtag Safer Internet Day. So keep an eye on our accounts, subscribe to our newsletters as well. And this is your final reminder to submit any questions you might have using that Q&A feature. And whilst you are doing that, I would like to hand over and introduce Esther Woodhouse from the Education Authority, who has a reminder of some other resources to support you with online safety in Northern Ireland.
Thanks, Amy, and to the team at ChildNet for the fab resources and for a really great overview of everything that's available to support the Safer Internet Day theme. And I'd just like to very briefly mention some of the locally produced resources on online safety content. Eamon mentioned the Children and Young People Services, and of course they're central to safeguarding and online support for schools through their support and training for the safeguarding teams and all of the work around reporting and disclosure. And I'd also like to mention the Safeguarding Board again. They are key in this space, and hopefully you are aware of their online safety hub. The Safeguarding Board for NI is responsible for coordinating the NI Executive's online safety strategy. And you'll find on the Online Safety Hub a wealth of resources for professionals, including teachers, and also for young people and children and parents and carers. Of course, the Department of Education has made the Safer Schools NI app available to all schools, and we're really encouraging that last group of schools, perhaps around a third or slightly less, to go onto their site, the Safer Schools NI website, and to register for the app. And we're encouraging all registered schools to also benefit from the newly developed web app as well that's now available. I'd also like to mention the C2K News Desk, which will be running articles on online safety. Whilst it's aimed at Key Stage 2, I think Key Stage 3 teachers, perhaps those supporting English as an additional language or pupils with literacy needs, will find great content here on online safety themes. There'll be 2 articles on this and they'll be available in early February. The first is a specially written short story. It's about an 11-year-old girl who, and it's called My Phantom Friend. And she's been encouraged to share information about herself and images as well online. And then at the end of the short story, there are key questions and themes for discussion with pupils around the whole issue of safety online and scams and the issue of sharing content. A news desk will also feature an article entitled The Perils of Buying a Bike, and it shows the persuasive marketing techniques and videos that have been used for a new moon bike. It was on sale for £51, but alas, when the bike arrives, it's a tiny toy that fits into the palm of your hand. So again, leading to discussions about scams and why you can't trust everything that you see or read online. So as I say, these articles will be available from early next month. And of course, through the news bank up at the top there of the news desk screen, you can access previous online safety content, and hopefully that will be of use as well. So that's just a quick recap of some of the local content. Our C2K e-learning team, of course, is focused on the e-learning services that we provide, but we do want to try to help signpost to the organisations that are working in this field. And if we can be of any help, feel free to contact myself or other e-learning consultants, and we'll do our best to signpost for you. So we trust that you find today and the information really helpful for Tuesday the 4th of February or whatever day that you're planning to celebrate and throughout the year. And we'll do our best to get out the link for today and the letter that has been mentioned for parents as well to you as soon as we can. Thank you. Handing back to Amy.
Thank you so much, Esther. We really appreciate your support, and thank you also to Eamon, who joined us earlier, and to Orla from the Safeguarding Board, who I know is here with us behind the scenes. Okay, I think we should probably take a look at some questions. So whilst I am switching my screens around and seeing what we've had submitted, I would also love to invite you to use the QR code that you can see on the screen now to complete our short evaluation for this session. Right then, let me have a little look and see what questions we have got. Okay, so I've got a question here about where I can find a leaflet to send home to parents with guidelines and tips for protecting their children online. So I would say that in relation to the Safer Internet Day campaign, we've got the top tips. It's not provided as a specific leaflet, but you could certainly share those top tips, and the letter itself will signpost to the letter that we mentioned as coming soon for parents and carers. That will signpost to key online safety advice for that audience as well. So that is definitely a starting point. But I know the ChildNet website, the UK Safer Internet Centre website, and I'm sure some of the sites that Esther signposted to as well will have other bits of advice and resources that you can share. I've got a question about whether there are any Safer Internet workshops available delivered face-to-face for Key Stage 2 pupils. So I'll take this opportunity to say that ChildNet, we do offer online safety workshops, but unfortunately we don't offer them around the time of Safer Internet Day because, as I'm sure you can imagine, a lot of our time is taken up with the campaign. So that might be something that you want to explore. Esther, Orla, I don't know if either of you are aware of any particular workshops that we can mention, or whether there's particular organisations you would signpost to.
Yeah, I mean, if, as I mentioned with my email address there, if schools would like to contact me, we'll certainly endeavour to signpost to some of the local organisations that have been recommended to us. And obviously there's a huge range out there, but certainly we know that the PSNI have done some workshops in schools. I'm not sure whether that's something that they can provide in every area or district, but they are certainly one body that has been used by schools to come in and to deliver for parents. And there are some other options indeed for groups to come in and work with students directly. But we are very careful in this sphere, and we want to ensure that those groups are working from a trauma-informed approach and that they are recognised. So there is some work going on by the Safeguarding Board in order, hopefully in the future, to have a list of organisations that can be approached for this type of training and support. But certainly if schools want to contact myself, we will do our best to try and provide some names that could be contacted.
Perfect. Thank you. That was really helpful, Esther. We've also got a question here about when you kind of download the initial resources. Sorry, yes, I should have flagged this. When you download them, they will download as a zip file. So you will need to unzip that file. Most computers and laptops will have a really easy automatic function to allow you to do that by kind of right-clicking and selecting unzip. So that's the kind of easiest way to make use of those. There's a question here about the BBC Live lesson, which was on the slide that I shared around the BBC. I didn't speak specifically about the live lesson because the live lesson is taking place on the 11th of February. So I know that for a lot of you, that's going to fall in that half-term break. I'm unsure. I know the live lesson is happening live, as is in the name, but I'd be interested to know whether there are plans to record that. It wouldn't surprise me if there are plans to record it. So it might be something that you can pick up and use after the day and when you're back from that break as well. On Eventbrite, there are events scheduled for the 11th of February. Is there any way we could get these for the week before as we are off school for half term? I'm personally not aware of what those events might be. Then probably I'm not sure if they're UK Safer Internet Centre events. So if you want to drop us an email across, if you think that might be a UK Safer Internet Centre event, you're very welcome to. You can reach out to me, education@childnet.com, and I can see if we can look into that. But we are not hosting, as far as I'm aware, any public events on that day. Let me just look. I've kind of worked through from the top and then had a few more come in. Where will we be able to get the letter for parents that you have referred to? So it's coming soon, and I think we will do our best to disseminate it as widely as possible to everyone who has joined today and beyond. We will certainly be hosting it on the UK Safer Internet Centre website, but I would imagine that we might be leaning on the Education Authority and potentially on the Safeguarding Board to post and share elsewhere as well. Hopefully that answers that one. And let me just read this one. If we are looking to extend our internet safety learning work beyond the main Safer Internet Day or week, is there a good signpost to resources for this, particularly themes that we might explore each half term, for example? Absolutely, there's loads of fantastic organisations working in this space, and I mean, I'm going to have to start with a signpost to the UK Safer Internet Centre and particularly to ChildNet. We have a whole host of resources that cover lots of different online safety themes. So you could certainly kind of click through those. I'm also confident that all of the resources that Esther signposted to will be a support for that as well, and will be a really good starting point to kind of planning a wider provision and a breakdown of internet safety topics that you might want to cover at different points throughout the year. Okay, I think we are kind of reaching the end. We won't be sending out the packs that I was talking about. You can find them at the link that is in the Q&A, and you can also find them at the link that is on the screen right now. So saferinternetday.org.uk, click to the tab that is labelled Education Resources, and then you can download the pack for the ages of the young people that you work with. So you don't have to get all of them in one go. You can just pick and choose the ones that are going to be most useful to you. Absolutely fine. I can see someone saying they're going to be running events the week beginning the 17th of February. That is absolutely fine. We just want as many people to get involved whenever they can. And as I said right at the beginning, for us, it's all about starting a conversation that is going to continue all year round. So if you can't join in on the day itself, it's really not a problem. For us, the most important thing is finding time to start those conversations with young people and get those key safety messages out to them. Okay, a final reminder that we would really appreciate any responses to the evaluation that I have shared. It's really helpful for us in just making sure that this is as useful as possible for all of you. And a huge thank you to everyone who joined us today, including Esther, Eamon, and Orla behind the scenes. If you do just 3 things after today's session, please do check out the website and all of the resources that are available, as well as those resources that Esther mentioned. Please, please, please register as a supporter so we can show the reach of the campaign and so we can have as wide an impact as possible, and make space for conversations about life online with the children and young people you work with, not just on Safer Internet Day, but all year round. It's such an important topic, and we are so grateful to everyone who made time out of their afternoons to come and join us today. It's fantastic to see such a huge number of you, and we really hope that it will be really helpful to you. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely rest of the evening, and we will end the session there. Wishing you all the best. Goodbye.